Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be decorating the third apartment in this custom apartment building that I have been building here on my channel, and that is somewhat inspired by Mexico City. So first I really wanted to change these doors and windows because I used the ones from For Rent that are very beautiful, but that I decided didn't really go with the vibe of the building, and since it was going to be visible from the inside, I decided that it really didn't fit any of the aesthetics that I was going to try and incorporate into these different apartments, since I had designed each one of these living rooms around which these apartments are going to be decorated in a specific style, or not necessarily a style maybe. I had originally made them for a furniture store that I built, and I will have that link down below in case you want to watch that. But I really wanted them to look like different furniture displays that you could find in a normal furniture store. So I really wanted to have these be sort of representative of those displays that you might find in a furniture store. And for this apartment, I really wanted to go for this kind of very traditional looking style that isn't exactly traditional. So this is the kind of furniture that you would find at maybe a palace, but it of course doesn't have the same quality. They are a bit tacky, and I know that I have seen them in so many furniture stores and in a few homes, and I hope you know what I'm talking about. And also it would be very cool if you knew what it was called, because I have no idea what it's called. But I do know that I have seen even entire furniture stores just dedicated to having this style. Even there's some that are like very ornate and, you know, like antique, but they are new and they look sort of chrome. So they are just like these silver tables with glass and a lot of decorations. I really do hope that you know what I mean by this, because that's what I really wanted to channel in here, and I think it's a little bit ugly sometimes. So that's really what I wanted to do. So if you think that this isn't the sort of house that you would like to live in, me neither. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to do with this. That's why I am picking those very fancy sofas and these like fancy upholstered chairs here in the dining room, also around a very fancy table. And even the entryway table with a mirror, it doesn't work as a mirror, but it does look like pretty fancy and ornate. And I do think that all of these pieces are really beautiful. It's just that having them in a modern setting and imagining that their quality isn't like good or actually good, I just think that that would be what makes this a little bit ugly. Also, there's like a huge peacock next to the door, and you know, that kind of thing I was thinking isn't my personal taste, at least. And I also tried to have these chandeliers in here. I think I only actually kept the one that is in the kitchen, and I may have copied it over to the dining room. And I also really tried to have these curtains in here. I wanted some like very traditional looking curtains, and in the end, I didn't think that these actually worked in this space, so I ended up changing them for some like basic curtains, because I was thinking that these people would be kind of basic, but they would like to pretend that they aren't. And that was the inspiration. And if your house looks like this, I'm sorry, this really isn't a dig at you. It's just what I was trying to convey with this build, and if you like it, I think that's very cool. I do actually like it. I think that I managed to actually show the things that I wanted to show. I was just trying to have all of these different living rooms actually have a space that fit them, so I do think that I managed that with the dining room and the kitchen. And the bedroom I did like the bedroom. I was actually thinking that maybe an elderly couple living here, and these are things that are a mixture of things that are actually old and just things that are supposed to look traditional. So things like these birds maybe. I don't know. I don't really know if those would actually be old or if they would just be something they bought maybe the year earlier. So yeah, but here in the bathroom I am using the same cabinet as the ones that I'm using in the kitchen, and I don't think I keep this orientation of things because it didn't make sense to me to open up the door and to find the window and the toilet. So I decided to have the sink in that corner instead. But first I really tried to just pick out all of the different items that I wanted in here, even the decorations. So now I am changing that around, and I think that this made a lot more sense. I also think that at some point I flipped the door so that it would look like it would open in a way that made more sense to enter the room. And one thing that I really liked to add was this sort of flower box above the toilet. I was thinking that these are fake flowers and that they are pretty dusty. You know, it's the kind of thing that I would expect to find at a grandmother's house, you know, just fake flowers that are super dusty, and they aren't even beautiful, but they are just there for decoration, supposedly. So yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to have in here and to just really tie in with that style. And here in the bedroom, I decided to have these like also traditional and fancy sconces. And this is probably the least realistic thing for Mexico, which is using a bunch of wallpaper and even like this paneling. I don't think I have ever seen this kind of thing in a home. I know that wallpaper used to be more popular like decades ago, but I have never seen paneling, I think. So yeah, but I thought that it made sense with the furniture that I was adding, and it's a sim, so I wasn't that interested in realism. And here I am just adding this corner that is part office and part wardrobe. I am using these windows from Realm of Magic all around this building because that's a thing that I have seen in Mexico City. They have these apartment buildings that are just window after window, and I don't actually know what they look like on the inside because I have never been inside one, but I have driven past so many of these, and I really wanted to try and have that same look, and I hope that the inside makes at least some sense. I don't actually know. But I also decided to have a typewriter because that's something that I have seen in some people's homes in here, and I thought that maybe it would make sense. And I also added these blinds, and I think that this room worked out pretty well. I really liked adding those like clutter pieces above the dresser, and then next to this bed from Discover University, I am adding a small bookshelf and a few little statues. I do think that these are like the kind of statues that you would find in so many furniture stores. And I also really liked adding the vampire's roses above the bed. They have like the same or almost the same curve as the headboard has. And I also wanted to have Mrs. Crumplebottom's purse in the entryway because I was thinking maybe she would live in a space like this if she wasn't living in Henford-on-Bagley. And since I was thinking that there was at least one grandmother living here, I decided to add this like ceramic baking pan. And I also decided to have this like football team picture next to the bed because I was thinking maybe that was the team that one of their grandchildren is in. And I also decided to have these like very old vintage photographs on the other wall just so that there would be something on that side of the room. I did find these long bedrooms a bit hard to furnish, but I think that in the end I have managed to actually get decent amounts of furniture and functionality in these spaces. This balcony, for example, has a few planters and also a space to eat outside, but that could easily be made into a chess table. And I also decided that this couple would have a cat, so I also added a kitty litter box in here. And I was also trying to go for that traditional look in the furniture. So I think that this balcony fits the style of the apartment as much as was possible. And it's also realistic that different spaces in your home aren't going to look similar or even like they are part of the same house sometimes. But yeah, I am now just adding some finishing touches, some light switches, changing the orientation of some of the doors so that it didn't look like you would just walk into a wall. And I also changed the TV and added a column in the kitchen. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next videos in this series, and I hope to see you soon.